think after listening to all that Danish, I'll have to try and remember my English again. I don't know what they have been saying, but it's always a disadvantage to speak after four people when you don't know what they have been saying, because I may repeat the same thing again and again. So perhaps I should tell you what I did and why I did it. I have been in this yoga business for about 40 years now. 50 years. I'm 65. I started at the age of 15. I really don't know why. I assume that's the case with most of the people who come here. They don't know why they are here. My master I met my master only in 1964, about 25 years after I started my own yogic practice. He said, "You are not unusual." Because even in the material world, few people know what they are doing and why they are doing it. It's difficult to accept, perhaps. But if you examine your lives, for instance, I was trained to be a chemist. After training myself to be a chemist, I became a geologist. After that, I became a salesman in a company in India. And I continued with my sales career, became a marketing manager, became a director of marketing, became the executive director of the company and then of a group of companies. So much so that when I retired, I wondered why I went to school at all. I need not have studied chemistry, I need not have studied geology, I need not have studied anything. So you see, often we start off somewhere just because we don't know where to start. Every young man at one age, at a particular age, transiting from youth to adulthood, let us say, finds this confusion. What shall I do now? Should I get a job? Should I continue my education? Should I get married, if you are in Denmark, for instance? We don't know really, you see. Our parents are not able to help or unwilling to help. They say, well, you have to decide for yourself. There was a time, especially in my country, where the young people got a great deal of guidance from their parents, from their uncles and aunts, from their grandfathers, in fact from everybody in society. As a young man, when I set out on the road, going out to buy vegetables, for instance, I would be stopped 100 times by elderly people asking me what I was doing and why are you not doing this. In India, it's very common. You get into a train, they want to know what is your age, what is your name, are you married, is this your wife, and what is your salary. In India, it's very common. Europeans are very angry and upset when they come for the first time to have all these intimate questions asked, but they have to answer. Why I am saying all this is, our personal welfare as we grow up, we realize, is not a matter of concern only for myself. It concerns everybody else. It concerns everybody in the family, it concerns everybody in the local society in which I exist, and perhaps, in a larger sense, the whole world. We don't recognize this, we don't realize this, because we are taught to be self-centered, my existence, my destiny in my hands, I am the maker of my destiny, all this, orientation that is given nowadays, that I am the creator of my destiny. What happens is that soon we find out that I have neither a destiny nor that I have the capacity to create it. Because something is working in me inexorably, you see, pushing me in a direction in which I don't want to go. A chemist studying geology, it was absurd. More absurd, going into sales. More absurd, continuing in sales, a subject which I came to love because it helped me to meet people, talk to them. I lost my shyness. I found out how much I could do without really knowing anything about what I am selling or what selling is. I'm not joking, this was a revelation to me. I came to the very top of my company on a foundation of education which had nothing to do with what I was doing. selling things which I did not want to sell, but enjoying myself all the time and becoming very successful in the process. When I came to my Guruji, my master, I said, what is this? You see, is it nonsense? Is it a mystery? Is it some sort of arcane thing which I cannot understand? He said, you have understood that you cannot understand what you are. You think you are a chemist. You found out you are not a chemist. Studying chemistry doesn't make us a chemist. Therefore, you studied geology. There you found you are not a geologist. Then you went into sales. No, there you did not want to be, but you became an excellent salesman. You had a top salary in India. Therefore, we have to try to find out what we are, what we have to do by looking inwards. No, it is no use studying the syllabi, you see, and the courses available, which is the cheapest, which is the best university, where should I go? This is what we commonly do. Should I go to the USA and make a lot of money? Should I go to England and study well? Should I go to Germany and become perfect in science and technology? Or should I remain in India, do business and learn a lot of money? But we are confused. What is it that I really want? Because most of us want a combination of everything. We want to be a scientist and an agriculturist and a plane, operator of a plane. All young people have these fantasies. What is the reality behind it? The reality, my master said when I first met him, is that we have two lives, two existences, the inner and the outer. All our aspirations, our longings, our idealisms come from inside. All our ambitions for success, for growth, for development, in whatever sphere we are in, come from outside. So we have to balance our aspiration with our ambition. One is related to my life outside myself, with growth in the material sense, with success reflected in possessions, in ownership, in acquisitions, with an inner aspiration which longs to be perfect, ideal. This idealism is very manifest when we are young. All children are idealistic until we become 18, 19. We are so idealistic that we even quarrel with our parents. I remember once telling my father that he was telling a lie and he shouldn't tell a lie, and I got boxed on the ear for it. He said, shut up, I am older than you, I know better. I said, if you know better, you shouldn't be telling lies. I got hit on the other ear, second time. Now, if we are treated like that when we are children, what happens to our idealism? And when we are told that you cannot be successful by living an ideal life, a life of truth, a life of honesty, that nowadays, unless you are a crook, you cannot be successful in business. Honesty is the best policy, it's only for the books. Truthfulness, chastity, morality, ethics, they are all in books, preferably in libraries, Plato's. So you see, we have relegated today the art of perfect living as embodied in philosophical, psychological, spiritual literature to beautiful books bound in leather in the libraries, and we are living by artificial standards, artificial values of owning, possessing, exhibiting, and saying, see how successful I am. But inside of ourselves, we know we are not successful. Any fool can build a palace. What is so great about building a palace or an empire? Can you take it with you? The famous question, the most important question we have to answer to ourselves, what will you take with you when you exit this life? Therefore, you see our possessions become something of which we are afraid. Oh, I will have to leave this behind, this beautiful cassette, this beautiful microphone, my beautiful mansion, my lawns, my dogs, my horses. What will happen to them? But we don't ask the other question, what is going to happen to me? See, my house will be there, somebody will buy it and live in it. My horses, somebody will ride. My boat, somebody will sail in. What is going to happen to me? So you see, we spend our life in asking rather ridiculous questions. I know people who have built houses, they need money desperately, they have to sell it, but they cannot sell it because they are so emotionally attached to that house. Oh, I built it brick by brick. Yes, now brick by brick you are dying. Why don't you sell it? Yes, but my heart is in this house. But I thought your heart is here inside your body. No, but you are only argumentative. You see, they tell me, you are argumentative. You don't really understand. If you had a house, you would understand. I said, thank heavens, I don't have one. And then I asked them a question. You have one house, you are living in that one house miserably, unable to live in it happily because you have no money, unable to sell it happily because you are too attached. I have no house, but I am sleeping in a different house every day, comfortably. I enjoy the, best comfort I could never afford myself. I sleep on mattresses, in heated rooms in Denmark, in cool rooms in America, in natural rooms in India. I said, why should I own anything? Do I have to own something to live in it? Do I have to grow the food that I eat? Other people grow. We have to get it. So you see, when we make the mistake of too much concentration on the outer life, the inner life is being relegated to some sort of limbo. Wait, your time will come. But it says from the beginning I have been asking you, when. From childhood I have been speaking to you. This is the real life. You see, when you observe little children, they have no respect for material things. You buy them a nice toy, they open it, throw it and break it. A crystal vase for which you paid, 7,000 krona, Royal Copenhagen, it's broken. Because they are using the outside things to reveal something to themselves inside, to learn. What are we doing? Having learned, we are creating the very things they break for our pleasure. You see what a parody of existence. The idealism that was there in my childhood, in my youth, which made me absolutely carefree of material possessions, careless of material things. They had a purpose. When they had fulfilled it, it was enough, basta. I don't need them anymore. But now we are holding on to possessions which we cannot even use. A magnificent, Royal Copenhagen horse. 117,000 krona. I was tempted to buy one last week in Copenhagen. If I had the money, perhaps I would have been a fool to buy it. But I couldn't even ride it. They told me you can get a nice Icelandic horse for 6,000 krona. So you see, we are getting hold of things first which we need, later on which we don't need, later on which we neither need nor can use, and anguishing over it. Security, this Falk outside. I asked, what is it for? It is a security company to protect what we have. For that protection, we pay. So I buy something, I need to protect it, I buy protection. Having bought protection, sleeping inside the house, I am always wondering whether this protection will work. So spirituality says, okay, you are born in this world, you have to live. As long as you are in the body, you need to protect it, cover it, keep it in some decent comfort, eat, work. How much? Work enough to earn your living, enough to lead a comfortable life, enough to be moderately healthy. We don't have to be superlative he-men, you see. Then what do? I have so much more time. Meditate. Because now the inner life is there, it has to begin. You did not do it when it was possible in your youth. You did not do it when it was possible as an adult. Will you be able to do it as an old man? You see, we all do our horse riding and our walking and all these funny things, you see, when we are young, because we don't know whether we'll be able to do it when we are old. Oh, but when I get old, Charya, I won't be able to ride a horse. Let me ride it now. But what about this inner thing? See, will I be able to do it when I am old? Will I be able to sit and meditate? Will I be able to close my eyes? Or will I be lying in some hospital bed waiting for somebody to polish me off? Or in an old age home, miserable, nobody to look after me, thinking only of my misery, meditating only on my misery, therefore becoming more and more miserable. What will I be doing? So you see, the foundation for our adult life, aged life, old age has to be laid when it is possible to lay foundations. And that is now, when we are young, when you are young. Because unless we can balance this inner life with the outer life, we are going to be miserable, however much you may think of your wonderful standards of living at your posh houses and cars, etc., etc. It is all a sham, a show. The more a man has to show off his possessions, the less he has inside. This is a psychological truth. It doesn't need to be proved. He who is most insecure here wants most security outside. He who is sleepless here is probably selling sleeping pills to others, because he recognizes the need for it, you see. So in our everything that we do, in our possessions, in our activities, in our hobbies, we are revealing to the outside world the inadequacies of my inner self. If this is created inside, I don't need anything outside myself. What has a man to do with external possessions who has the wealth of the universe inside himself? What has a man to do with a library when he has the wisdom of the universe here or here? I choose to put wisdom here, not here. Intelligence here, wisdom here. We start with intelligence, we go on to wisdom, we progress to intuition through yogic practice, and finally we have the possibility of direct communication with whatever it is you call God, source, anything. But we stop with intelligence. I have a PhD degree, it's enough. I have a nice job which pays me, 600,000 krona a year. I have 2 cars. That is not intelligence, that is possession. So intelligence must lead to wisdom, must lead to the capacity to become intuitive, must lead to the capacity for direct communication with the living reality that exists, which you may call by any name you like. Only one method, going inside. Because the communication, the communicator and the one with whom you are communicating are all here. I am communicating with myself, not myself, myself, through myself in the act of meditation. So people should know why they should meditate. No, it gives you peace of mind. Nonsense. One Valium will put me to sleep and help me to wake up tomorrow morning better than today. Of course, if I get addicted to it, it will not help. For some people, a glass of wine, hashish, they will say, why meditate? Because meditation is the only way to which you cannot get hooked, in the sense that you have to take bigger and bigger doses of it. Secondly, it is something which is not external to yourself, because if it is external to yourself, today you may have it, tomorrow you may not have it. Therefore, in our system, we say even the master, without whom nothing is possible, must be internalized. The outside master is a fellow, you see, who was born, who is living, who will die. What after him? After me the deluge? Not at all. What is the way? Put him here. How? There is only one way. So how do you put someone in your heart and say, my heart, you are my heart, you are my sweetheart? How do you say it? By love. So you see, the way of yoga is nothing but the way of love, sublimated beyond the physical, sublimated beyond the mental, sublimated beyond the intellectual, emotional, to that pristine purity of love, where there is no more love of person to person, but love of heart to heart. So the way of yoga is nothing but the way of love. And you cannot have love without giving love. It is something of a mystery to me that in the modern life, more and more people are leading loveless lives. They say, I want to be loved, but nobody loves me. The first question I am tempted to ask is, do you love anybody? Unless you love, you cannot be loved. How can you be loved just because you are beautiful, or because you are wealthy, or because you are healthy, or because you are a skiing champion? Well, for the moment, yes. Like the cricket stars and the tennis stars, Bjorn Borg had so many girlfriends. But he lost the Wimbledon, and I suppose he lost 90% of his girlfriends to the next winner. So you see, If you cannot love, you cannot get love. For an echo, you have to shout, then the echo comes back. It is a law that give and take. We are leading loveless lives precisely because we have lost the capacity to love in most cases. In the rest of the cases, we are afraid to love. Love is a commitment. You cannot just love and throw your lover aside and walk out. That is first not love. Secondly, if it is love, you are going to suffer all your life. I see that suffering all around me in society here. People who have left one wife, married a second wife, still pining for the first wife, still thinking of her, still thinking of the injustice that he has done or she has done. Parents and children having problems, minor problems, A child brings something with love, the parent rejects it, the child feels rejected, it carries the memory of that rejection throughout its life to the grave. That bond is broken, the parental filial bond. What does it take to remake it? A moment of intimacy. Go to your father, sit with him and say, Dad, I am sorry. And he is waiting, his eyes are flooded with tears, you are both in tears, you hug each other, and the moment is made, your future life is made. It is astonishing that 90% of the people I come across, adults, children, everybody, have problems with the parents or the parents with the children. Of course, problems between couples is almost total. Why? Again, because we are not able to love. We are not able to love completely. We are not able to love totally. We are not able to give our heart. We only give part of ourselves. A girl gives her beauty, her youth. What does she get in return? A few moments of companionship, perhaps a few years of companionship. When it is lost, she is lost. A rich man gets companions by the dozen. Suddenly one night he loses his money and next morning he is penniless, everybody is gone, he is deserted. Where was this love, you see? Was it in his purse? But that is all you will get if what you are using is only your wealth or your beauty, or your youth, or your strength, or your ability to play good tennis. These are all physical limitations. And when we deal with love which is not physical, on the basis of physical transactions, physical, manipulations, it is doomed from the beginning. Yoga is important here too. You may wonder why I am telling all this. Is this fellow a marriage counselor, is talking nonsense here? Not at all. Because unless your personal life can be happy, contented, stable, you have no chance of making your future a bright future oriented towards a particular goal which we call evolutionary goal. If you and your wife are always quarreling, if you and your children are always quarreling, there is strife in the house, how can you, for heaven's sake, ever sit and meditate? Who is to think of meditation? You say, hey, meditation? Come on, Chari, you must be joking. Let me put my family in order. Yes, but how will you put your family in order unless you meditate and you know the value of what is in your heart and you know that by giving it, the thing grows and grows and grows. It is the only thing which grows by giving it away. The more of it you give, the more of it you have. How are you going to realize this? So yoga is very necessary even for the mundane aspect of life. Have I the guts? First of all, I must know what is my heart. Is it just this thing beating dub, 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 and putting a couple of liters of blood through my body? Or is it something else? Is it a joke that throughout the human history, people have been described by the heart? He is cold-hearted. He is kind-hearted. He is human-hearted. He is hard-hearted. He is warm-hearted. She is soft-hearted. Why are we always describing a person with the heart? You surely don't mean this muscle under your ribs. You mean something else. What is that heart about which we are speaking? You cannot learn it from books on anatomy. No doctor will be able to teach it. They will do bypass surgery, you see. What they do in surgery, we are doing in life. We are bypassing the heart altogether, so that every individual today almost in this world has spiritual bypass surgery already done by himself upon himself. So that even though this heart is beating, that real heart is dead. So friends, how to bring back this heart, enliven it, embolden it, make it courageous, make it tell you from inside, my friend, because after all we are only friends. The heart was never mine, because something which I can give away doesn't really belong to me. But when I find that give and give and give, it is like a river which is going all the time, but yet the water is flowing in it and yet more water is coming into it. Where from does it come? Now suppose you put a dam and block it, nothing would flow inside. Every person in a house knows this. You have to open 2 windows to have a draft flow through. It's not enough to open one. And if you say this is my air, I don't want to let it out, it will stink. So our heart stinks. It is my heart. I don't want to give it. I close it. I lock it. It stinks. And what happens when it stinks? We are slowly dying, friendless, loveless, godless. First we lose our friends, we lose our lovers, and God will not stay in a place which stinks. So you see, if the heart is the seat of divinity in the human system, as all religions have proclaimed throughout human history, this must be pure, this must be clean. I am not talking now of physical purity and chastity and things like that. That is all for the body. The real purity of the heart, that I am capable of acting and using my heart, acting with and using my heart. How? In my interaction with human beings, do I use my heart? Am I suspicious or do I trust everybody? When they come to me with problems, am I sympathetic and compassionate, or I just say, okay, this happens to everybody, go to a hospital? When somebody wants something from me, am I willing to give, or am I protecting myself and saying, no, if I start giving like this to every fellow who comes to me, I will have nothing left in a few days. Am I compassionate? Am I merciful? Am I sympathetic? Most of all, am I understanding? Because without understanding, you cannot be anything else. Today we don't understand ourselves. How can you understand anybody else? He who understands himself understands everybody. Who has not understood himself or herself can understand nothing. How to get this understanding? Examine your heart. How to examine your heart? Sit and meditate. What do you do in meditation? Focus your attention on the heart. And then see for itself the enormously beautiful, wonderful mysteries that are there. And once you look at that, this world becomes meaningless. It is not that we have to run away, and become ascetics and celibates, but it loses its charm. Now we continue to live because we have to live. Like a tree lives. I don't think a tree finds any charm in its existence. It is there because it is there. Reason enough. So in that way, we begin to live, you see. That I have an allotted span. It is wrong to take my life even with the idea of, shall we say, evolution. Therefore I exist. Now I exist not for myself. I exist like a tree which gives fruit to others, like a flower which scents its surroundings. So any master who claims to be one must exist not for himself but for others. The fruits of his labor upon himself must be handed over to others. They must be allowed to pick it. This is not something for which you pay. Therefore, in spirituality, there are no considerations of payment. Can you say a tree gives fruit? A tree grows fruit. We pick it. But here, because we are human beings dealing with human beings, we say, well, here it is, come and take it. So this is the call of spirituality, especially this brand which we are practicing called Sahaj Marg, the natural way. It is there. Please follow it, accept it, practice it, and see for yourself what you can do. Thank you.